Hello, this is Jace Fugate with another session of the Introduction to the Go Programming Language course. And so we're going to be continuing the last session's topic and be talking about functions. So here is a little bit more complex example of a function. And so let's look at this. Let's start here with the main function. We initialize two variables, and these are initialized to floats. We then call this function right here and pass it those two floats. You notice here, this is typed two floats. We did something a little different than last time. Before we had the types after each variable or each parameter. If you accept the same, like two of the same or multiple of the same types of parameters, you can actually omit the type until the last instance of that type. So in this case, this is a float, this is a float. We can just put float here at the end. If we had like a string on the end, you could type that. You couldn't, and then if you were to put this right here, I mean, this is a string, and then this is a float. So again, it just is nice so that you don't have to always put all the types there on the end. Let's go back to what I was saying. So you pass in two floats, you call this function, and then takes the current price, subtracts the previous price, and then it then calculates the percent change, and then returns two things. It actually returns the change and the percent of change. And so if you look at the syntax, we have func space the name, we have the parameters, and then we actually have multiple returns. So you can return more than one value. If you call this though, you have to make sure that you capture both values. You could run this like this if you didn't want to capture any values. But if you want to capture any of the values, you have to put something there to catch both of these returns. We then do an if statement and then check to see if it's been decreased or increased and by how much. Let's go ahead and run this. There we go. We can change this to 1, give a little bit different of a value. Change this to really big value, and notice that it switches. It says it decreased this time. But with functions, you don't have to only return one thing. And also, when you're doing your parameter list, you don't always have to say what each parameter is, the type of each parameter, if you have duplicates or two parameters of duplicate types. You can just put them right next to each other and then indicate the type of the last one. So play with this. Figure out what you can and what you can't do with it. There is no limit that I know of how many return variables. You can put as many in there as you want. But you do have to make sure, again, that you capture those return variables. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll hope to see you again.